Hey guys, in this position world champion Spassky as white played a sacrifice and a combination, and he won the game in 2 moves. We'll analyze it very soon, but first let's see how they got here, because it's really instructive. Keep watching. So Spassky is playing as white and Avtonomov is playing as black. They played a Queen's Gambit accepted, and Spassky is going to play the main line with knight f3. Black plays knight f6, then e3, c5, bishop takes, c4, a6, he castled, and black played a6 here. The typical move queen e2, and also the common idea b5, bishop b3, and knight c6. Actually, we need to say that at this point the move bishop b7 is much more popular and probably a little better. Knight c6, then there is this move, knight c3, and the idea is that black is attacking 3 times here on d4, so they can take it because white is defending only twice. However, in the next move, and this is what happened in the game, Spassky can play rook d1, and now he's pinning, he's attacking 3 times the pawn on d4, so he's going to get the pawn back very soon. The game continues here with bishop b7, and I think we need to say that probably bishop e7 wanting to castle very soon is a good idea in this position, but white is still a little better in that mid game. However, bishop b7, there is this move, e takes d4. Now Spassky has an isolated pawn on d4, but this is an isolated queen pawn, which means there is a very good compensation for the weak pawn. For example, when we have an isolated queen pawn, we have more control and space in the center, we have good squares, and we have also good lines for our major pieces. This time there is another compensation, and there is the king still in the center. So the position is actually very well for white, and black is going to play this plan, knight b4, which is a typical idea to face the isolated pawns, because black wants to put a knight here on d5. They want to block the weak pawn and use the outpost in front of the pawn. However, at this point it is white to move, and Spassky found an amazing move. It's one of my favorite moments in this game. Here Spassky tried to take advantage of the king still in the center, and he played the nice move d5, and this is a pawn sacrifice, but there will be a very good compensation for the pawn down. Black doesn't have too many options. They need to take that pawn now because there is like too much pressure. So knight b d5, and then this move bishop g5. When we analyze this position, we can see that there is a pin over here, there is another pin over here, and there is another pin over here. So suddenly black pieces are very passive as white pieces are very active. At the same time, when we play bishop g5, there is a very important and annoying threat. Spassky is getting one piece here on d5, since this piece and this piece are not really defending because of the pins. So he's threatening right now knight takes d5, after bishop takes, and this is just getting one piece. That's why at this point Avtonomov is going to play the move bishop e7, removing the spin, also removing the spin. But again, Spassky found a very strong idea, and it is this capture here on f6. This move is stronger than it seems. The idea is that the bishop cannot recapture, because if the bishop takes there, then the pin is active again, so the pawn is not defending the knight anymore, so we can just capture the knight, and then we can capture the bishop. So bishop takes f6, black has to recapture with g, and this is going to create some weaknesses over there. But not only that, in the next move he's going to continue creating even more weaknesses on black's position. He's going to capture the knight on d5, and after bishop takes d5, and e takes d5, black has many problems in this position for only one pawn as compensation. For example, the king is in the center, and it's going to be in the center for many moves. Also, this is an isolated pawn, and there are many interesting squares for this knight. For example, going to d4, and from d4 the knight will control f5 and will control c6, which are very weak squares on black's position. So knight d4 not only improving the knight, but also preventing black from castling. For example, if black tries short castling here, there are many ways to win, but this move is pretty simple. Knight c6, forking queen and bishop, and we're getting the piece for free then. So Black cannot castle, and in the game, Avtonomov just played here king f8. At this point, he continued improving the knight. He's going to play here knight f5. The knight is very powerful here on this square. It's targeting g7, but also, I mean e7, but also g7 and h6. The game continues here with h5. I guess black was trying to avoid the moves queen g4 or queen h5. This is the position we had at the beginning of the video. In this position, Spassky is going to play something amazing. It's a really nice combination, and he's going to win the game because of this. The move he played is the surprising rook takes d5, and the idea is to deflect the queen away from the protection of the bishop on e7. Black doesn't have too many options. They can try here queen e8, for example, but I guess a move like queen d3 threatening rook e1 is going to be very well for white, and this is a decisive advantage. White should be winning very soon. All white pieces are just too active, as black pieces are too passive, and the king is also in danger. So probably queen e8 is a little better, but couldn't solve all the problems. So in the game, Avtonomov took the rook on d5, and then this is a forced win here for white. Here he takes the bishop on e7. The idea is that there are too many weaknesses, especially dark squares are very weak in this position. Here black plays king g8, Spassky took the pawn on f6. At this point, Avtonomov resigned. The problem is that there is a very serious threat of checkmate here on g7, and probably the only option to stop the mate is by playing rook h7. But then there is this move. Remember, the queen was on e7, but now we moved the queen, so we cleared that square. So now we can play the move knight e7. It's a fork, and then we're getting the queen. This is a decisive advantage for white. Instructive moment in this game in the opening when Spassky played d5, sacrificing one pawn but getting a lot of activity as compensation for that pawn down. And the other moment is here when he played the combination starting with rook takes d5. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. I would be happy to interact. Check out this video over there. I'm sure you will like it. Thank you, like, subscribe. See you on the next.